Okay, let's just give everyone a minute to join before we begin. In the meantime, go ahead and write where you are joining from in the little chat box on the right. Awesome. We have Sean from Richmond, we have Bertha from Denver, Dana from Alberta, Baltimore, Louisiana, Seattle. We have everyone from, we have people from all across the country and also from Canada. I see Ottawa, Quebec, Lubbock, Texas, Atlanta. That's awesome. Perfect. Let's go ahead and get things kicked off here. Firstly, thank you everyone for joining us today for our Fieldwire Vision webinar. My name is Pranati Gumpa and I'm a program manager here at Fieldwire. Before we begin, I would like to address a few housekeeping items. To ensure a smooth session, attendees will be muted, but please don't hesitate to ask any questions you may have in the Q&A panel, the same panel where you are writing where you've come from, and we will have a Q&A session at the end of this presentation, and we'll do our best to address as many questions as we can. And if we don't get to your question, we will reach out to you on an email and address it to you directly. We also have some poll questions during the webinar. Please select your answer when these questions pop up, and this will just help us to understand your demographic, your title, and just different things about you guys. And also at the end, we have a short 5-question survey, which we would really appreciate if you could spend that 2 minutes and fill it out. This survey helps us to determine the usefulness of the content that we deliver and also helps us to plan for the future webinars. Perfect. Before we dive in, let's take a quick minute to fill up these 2 poll questions. The first question you have here is, what type of company do you work for? Just trying to understand. Are you an architect, engineer, consultant, general contractor, subcontractor, or others? I can see that there's a good mix of everyone in the room here. That's awesome. Let me give it another couple of seconds before we go to the next question. Awesome. So let's go to the next poll question. That is, what's the role at your company? Again, this just allows us to understand the demographics better. Project manager, project coordinator, engineer, superintendent, foreman, project executive, IT, and others. Awesome. Let's give it another couple of seconds again. Perfect. Thank you so much for answering those questions. Without further ado, I would like to welcome our CEO of Fieldwire, Puneet Raj. Puneet, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thanks, Pranati. And hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to those of you who are joining from different places around the world. It's my privilege to have such an amazing audience today and to be able to share not just Fieldwire's product vision, but also a vision of how we want to partner with everyone in the construction industry and make construction better. My name is Puneet, and I have the privilege of leading Fieldwire. I've been doing so since the start of this year. And I've been a part of Fieldwire's parent company, which is the Hilti Group, for the last 10 years, where I've done various roles. And most recently, I was leading another software product called OnTrack, which is all about equipment management, which is also a part of the Hilti group stable. Now, without much ado, since we have a limited amount of time, I'm going to jump right in and talk about Fieldwire's product vision, especially in light of how much construction as an industry has changed over the last 1 year. But before we jump into Fieldwire's product vision, I just want to talk a little bit about the key industry trends that we observe from sitting over here from our perspective, and then talk about Fieldwire's key initiatives and how we are taking those industry trends that we see, and we are building the Fieldwire product and Fieldwire services to ensure that we are able to serve you better. And finally, we'll throw it open for a Q&A. Yeah. Good. So industry trends. I think construction as an industry is always ever changing, and that's the fun part of working in the world's largest sector. So construction is 13 to 14% of the GDP of the entire world. We are the world's largest employer, and it's a truly amazing industry to work in. And I am super proud to be a part of construction each and every day. But also what we see worldwide is construction projects are continuously increasing in complexity. We see an increasing trend in everyone wanting to capture data that's happening on the job site, capture data that's happening in the back office to be able to manage this complexity better. And that we see as an increasing trend across the world, but also pretty much led by North America. What we also see is a very strong growth in data centers and public utility construction work. In fact, this year worldwide, data centers and public utilities have grown by around 12 odd percent, much higher in North America, in fact. And what we also see is worldwide residential and commercial construction has been on a little bit of a slowdown. The growth rate is around 5%, but also if you look at many countries across Europe, the residential and commercial construction is actually not growing at all. The majority of the growth comes from energy and industry space, especially with data centers. And against all of these, we also have the background that contractors everywhere, whether you're a GC or a sub, there is pressure on profitability. There is pressure on profitability across the construction stack, and that's also something that we hear most of our customers speaking about. And we at Fieldwire recognize these challenges that you as specialty contractors, subcontractors, or general contractors are undergoing. And a huge part of what we try to do in terms of our product vision or our service vision is aimed at helping everyone become more profitable and become a productivity partner for everyone in the industry. So for those of you who know what is Fieldwire, I think this might be the next couple of minutes might be repetitive, but I'm also aware that there are many of you who might be curious, who are not Fieldwire users today, who might be a part of this call. And I just want to spend a couple of minutes talking about what is Fieldwire and what do we do, and where do we serve the industry. We have this belief that productivity is best done on the job site. And construction productivity comes from when people are able to spend a lot of wrench time on job site. But the fact of the matter is today, 70% of any craftsman's time on the job site is actually downtime. It's spent in preparing for work. It's spent in trying to get the right equipment in the right place at the right time. It's spent answering questions, or it's spent in figuring out what exactly needs to be done. Whereas direct wrench time is actually 30% of the time. And this is primarily due to job site coordination amongst back office and the field. There are many intermediate steps and many processes that people need to go through just to be able to get their job done. And this is where Fieldwire actually comes in. We view ourselves as a field-first job site management. It's in the name, Fieldwire. We are field first. And the problem that we try to solve is to ensure that everyone has access to information on the field. Everyone is working off on the same set of plans and the latest set of plans. And any questions that the field may have is communicated instantly within the office. And everything is in context of a location and of a plan. And that's the entire portion about accessing and sharing information. We also ensure that as a contractor, you can plan and manage your work very effectively. You can set in place processes or checklists against each type of task or a job and ensure that it's standardized across projects through our task management and punch list modules. And also be able to track progress across the project and, in fact, across multiple projects. And also be able to ensure that your project is well within budget with our project financials module. So that's, by and large, the problem that Fieldwire is trying to solve at a high level. And when we do this very effectively, and when we support our customers to deploy this and use Fieldwire very effectively, our customers tell us year on year that Fieldwire manages to save them an hour per day for each and every craftsman on the job. And that's an hour of additional wrench time. And that's how we deliver productivity on the job site. And this is based on surveys for the last several years that we have been doing with all of our customer base. Coming to our product vision, I think the first and foremost product vision that we have is we want to be field first. There are many job site management platforms. Several of them are actually also pretty good. The main ones are Procore, Autodesk, or even Deluxe in Europe. We feel that many of them are built from the perspective of somebody who's sitting in the office. Whereas a lot of productivity is lost when it is not built from a perspective of somebody who's on the field. And that's the gap that Fieldwire wishes to solve. So we are very much field first, and we are very much field focused. In fact, many of our product managers and a large percentage of our team comes from the world of construction. These are people who have been APMs or PMs before, who got frustrated with what they were seeing and wanted to help serve and make this industry better. And they joined us and are partnering us on this journey. We also really pride ourselves on being very accessible and easy to set up. In fact, if you have a small or medium-sized project, you should be able to set up Fieldwire and get up and running in a few hours over a evening. But even for very large projects, we are able to deploy and make sure that everyone uses Fieldwire within a week or so. So the time to money is something that we are very proud of, and we are extremely easy to deploy and use. Fieldwire is also a product that's trusted for projects across any scale. At any point of time on our platform, there are over 1 million construction projects worldwide that are being managed and built out of the Fieldwire platform. We are present in 25 countries, and I'm extremely proud that Fieldwire works very well for a small project, but also mega huge construction projects running into several billions. And also, very importantly, we want to evolve with the industry, so we spend a lot of time on R&D in learning industry trends and bringing the best of technology and innovation to our customers. But at the same point in time, we want to ensure that anything that we release can be used the very next day with very minimal training by anyone on the field. And that goes back to us being a very field-first company and a very field-first product. So, key focus areas for Fieldwire as a product. The first and foremost is in ensuring that we are a super trusted field-first job site management platform. This is our core, and this is where we want to ensure that we deliver the highest value. In fact, this is also where more than 50% of our R&D effort goes in. And a vast majority of what we do on job site management is based on feedback of our existing customers and users. Everyone who is a Fieldwire user has a seat on the table. Every year, we receive around 4,500 to 5,000 pieces of feedback from our existing users, through various channels, and our product managers spend hours and hours together trying to digest that information, force rank them based on how useful it is for a vast majority of our users, and then we spend a lot of our time and effort in working on those. So you, as a Fieldwire customer, have a seat on the table, and this is something that we are very proud of. We also recognize, especially in this world of many SaaS solutions and other softwares that you might be using, that Fieldwire cannot be a standalone solution. It has to integrate very well with the rest of your technology stack, with your ERP, with your accounting tool, with your CRM tool. If you are using OpenSpace, for instance, for reality capture, it has to integrate with that. So connecting Fieldwire with every other app you use is also critical. And we want to ensure that Fieldwire remains the one-stop shop for any person on the field to retrieve any information immaterial of the origin of that information. We don't want people in the field to probably be confused with multiple apps that they have to toggle with to retrieve information. And hence, we are on a mission to build integrations with the vast majority of SaaS applications that you might be using on the field to ensure that we can collect all that information and present it to a field user with just Fieldwire as a platform. The other industry trend that we see as unavoidable across the world is the movement into BIM. BIM, especially in North America, has now moved out of the VDC teams and is vastly being deployed across many projects. And we want to ensure that immaterial of whether your teams work on 2D plans, on plan documents, or on 3D models with BIM, you have the best experience of working and managing your tasks on the field with Fieldwire. And that's the approach with BIM. And of course, finally, I think no industry in the world or no sector in the world hasn't heard of AI and the potential of AI. And at Fieldwire, we are very much cognizant that our customers trust us with a lot of their data. You upload plans, you upload your project specifications, you upload your tasks. There's a lot of data that you are trusting Fieldwire with. First of all, we want to ensure that we are trusted and trustworthy with your data. So your data belongs to you, and you trust us with the data, and that's something that we recognize. But also at the same point in time, we want to ensure that we develop AI functionality that helps people get their tasks done quickly, so that you get more wrench time. Yeah, it all goes back to, we actively do not want your field users to spend a lot of time on Fieldwire. We would much rather that they spend as little time on Fieldwire or any other SaaS application as possible and just go about doing their day job. And that's the key for us. And that's our approach to AI. We want to turn your valuable project data into insights and actions that you can use to improve your productivity, but at the same point in time, making sure that we are a trustworthy custodian of your data. I'll dive a little bit deeper into three of these items, namely integrations, BIM, and as well as AI, and then talk a little bit of how we wish to partner with customers worldwide. So connecting to your tech stack, I spoke about this. This is actually very important. We recognize that you might be using a multitude of solutions ranging from ERP to other productivity software, to file storage platforms, to other point solutions. And what is very important is that your field teams do not have multiple applications from which they have to retrieve information. And at Fieldwire, we want to be the hub for sharing information on the field. So we are on a mission to build integrations with as many of these solutions as possible, so that we can retrieve all of this information and present it to your field users via our platform, so that your field personas just have one application to work with. We started this journey in 2024, and it really took steam also this year. So far, we have already built over 20 integrations, and there are 10 more in the works as we speak. But also, as we move into the next year, we are constantly collecting feedback from our customer base as to which are the solutions that they work with, so that we can start building even deeper integrations with the softwares that you use, and you feel that it's actually valuable that that data flows into the hands of your field. Yeah, so over here we are very open for feedback, and as I mentioned earlier, 50% of everything we work on is actually based on feedback from our existing customers. So this is super valuable for us. So please continue to give us that feedback, and we will prioritize such tasks. A little bit about BIM to field. We have seen an increasing trend of design teams working on BIM models over the course of the last few years. Many of our bigger GCs and even subcontractors have specialized VDC teams who work to bring these BIM models to life with a lot of metadata in the models. And we believe that there is a lot of value when somebody can also work on the field of a BIM model. There are certain cases where the BIM model simply has more information than what would be available in a two-dimensional plan document. Whereas for other tasks, plans are actually quite good as well. So immaterial of whether a persona on the field needs to work off a plan document or on a BIM model, we want to ensure that we are the best suited for that purpose. Yeah. So what we have done and what we are on a mission to do is actually to take all of the goodness that we already have at Fieldwire, which is the interlinking of plans with RFIs, with submitters, with tasks, with punch lists, and bring all of that very seamlessly to the 3D world. So to share an example, this is a potential use case that could happen quite often. We have an installer who has a complicated condition. He checks the plans on his iPad. He also checks the 3D model and realizes that there is a clash. You can take a photograph of the clash, link it to the exact spot in the 3D model, and send the request right back to the office. Yeah, and this is a case where having the 3D model in place is actually a lot more useful than only working on 2D plans. Sure, you could do it also with 2D plans, but the 3D model just gives you more context. And over here, when this clash goes back to the PM in the office, who can then assign it to the VDC department or to the engineering department, they can update the model, and then the installer can come back the next day and work again. So this is actually how we visualize 3D in the hands of, or BIM models in the hands of our field users. So it is going to be a very field-oriented way of deploying BIM models in the hands of the field, and that's going to be our approach. So what are we going to work on? So we actually have had BIM and 3D models and Fieldwire since 2018. But in 2025, this year, we have really worked to expand this offering. We have seamless navigation between the 2D plan and the 3D model. So today on Fieldwire, you can actually, if you have uploaded a 3D model and linked it to the plan, your field users can navigate right away from the plan to the exact spot in the model. And then they can extract more information from the model as the need may be. And what we are going to work on continuously over the course of 2026 is to bring all the tasks and the punch list items that you have on 2D, but also within the context of the 3D model. So you should be able to do everything that you did on job site management in 2D plans as well as in 3D models. So that is going to be our approach for 3D. Moving on to AI. I think AI is something that will fundamentally change our industry. And there have been some statements that maybe construction is late to the AI party. We actually don't think that's the case. We think that this is the sector that is actually going to get AI right. We are just going to be the first sector to get AI right because we are a sector that ensures that when we deploy something to the field, it has to work most of the time. Yeah, somebody on the field cannot get a probabilistic answer. They need a deterministic answer. And we are just waiting for AI to have a much better level of truth before we actually deploy AI vastly in the sector. But within Fieldwire today, our customers upload a lot of photos, a lot of messages, forms, reports. There is just a wealth of data that you have entrusted us with. And the way we view AI at Fieldwire is that it should serve your purpose. It should have better interactions for our user base. Yeah, AI opens up the opportunity that you can actually speak into an AI agent and in natural language, just tell it what to do. And that is a very interesting way to interact with any SaaS application, including Fieldwire. You should also be able to automate your most regular tasks, such as your daily report at the end of the day. If you have taken a bunch of photos and made a bunch of comments throughout the day, the daily report should not be an exercise that a supervisor then has to fill out a big form, but rather it should be automatically generated with AI, with the supervisor then just doing a quality check and then signing off. So this is a way of giving back time to the people on the field. And we feel that this is where AI can actually be used. And finally, advisory. AI can actually summarize data and also generate reports and help you make smart decisions, especially across projects, surfacing risks, figuring out that a project of a similar size that you worked on had these risks, and maybe that's something that you also need to consider for the current project. This is the kind of stuff that AI can be actually very helpful in, and this is where we believe that AI can make a difference within Fieldwire as well. So the way in which we are approaching AI is we are not just working on AI ourselves, but we are also partnered with industry-leading startups, and so that we can bring the right level of value to you as quickly as possible. Within the Hilti group, we have a venture wing which makes investments in cool construction technology startups, and through that, we as Fieldwire have access to those startups and can bring you the best of tech within Fieldwire as quickly as possible. So Fieldwire AI, our goal is to connect the job site with the office. Yeah, and I mentioned that interaction, so get answers very quickly to any question, which is a great example is a very detailed spec search, being able to with pinpoint accuracy, figure out the answer for any question that you may have on a particular specification, but also automation, right? Perhaps you have to create 100 tasks, and you should just be able to prompt your way or just speak into the AI agent, and the agent should be able to create it for you, thus giving you back more wrench time. But also, as I mentioned, advisory, which is the classical use cases. We have a lot of the projects that you have worked on in the past, and maybe there are risks that can be surfaced because the new project that you're working on is similar to a project that you worked on a couple of years ago, in which certain risks had already occurred, and we can actually help surface that for you, and you can then work off that. So this is how we are thinking about Fieldwire AI within these work streams of interaction, better interaction, more automation, as well as advisory. So to summarize, when I think about product in Fieldwire, I think the main thing that I insist on is that we are always field first. That is our identity. That is the main value proposition that we bring to the table, which is we are extremely easy for anyone in the field to use, and hence deploying Fieldwire should be extremely simple for any of our customers, and they should be able to get value immediately. At the same point in time, we want to ensure that anything that we build on Fieldwire, whether it is BIM or AI, it's very easily accessible to anyone who has minimal understanding of software applications. We always say that if you can use a social media app on your smartphone, you should be able to use Fieldwire without any additional training. And that is the mission that we are on. And at the same point in time, we want to ensure that as the industry moves and we have more SaaS applications that you all are using, or you're working off BIM models, we help connect all of that information to the field and give the field one source wherein they can view all this information. So we want to be field first, accessible, as well as connected as Fieldwire. Now, abstracting out, Fieldwire is not a standalone point solution. We are a part of the Hilti group, and the Hilti group has a Hilti construction software suite, and we are pretty much a part of that suite. And the other pieces of software that are available as a part of that suite today is OnTrack, which is an equipment and asset management software specific for construction. We have Crew Center, which will be launched next year in the US, but it's already been launched in Europe, which is a workforce management software which can help you manage your crews much better on the job site. We have, of course, Fieldwire. And then we have 4PS, which is a construction ERP that we have launched in Europe. It's not yet available in the States, but at some point in time it will be. But software is a strategic priority for the Hilti group. The Hilti group has been around for 80 plus years. It's been a very trusted partner for over 1 million plus construction companies worldwide. And Fieldwire and 4PS, these were two acquisitions by the Hilti group to strengthen its software portfolio. And thanks to this acquisition, as Fieldwire, we have access to incredible resources. The Hilti group is a $8.3 billion group. We have access to an incredible amount of resources through which we can actually continue to build great solutions for you on the product side, but also partner significantly with you in ensuring that our software is deployed, and we want to make money when you make money. And that gets me to the last slide that I have in the presentation, which is, it is not just about the product. It's also about how you as a customer or as a potential customer experience Fieldwire. For us, this is super critical that we want to make money when you make money. We do not believe in just dumping software on anyone. We actually have a team of construction success managers. This is a dedicated team of construction experts, many of whom were APMs or PMs or supervisors at construction sites who felt the pain of working without software or working with other software vendors and were frustrated, and they wanted to make a difference in the overall sector. And this team understands your objectives for buying Fieldwire and ensures that your objectives become successful. At the same point of time, for customers who prefer self-service, we also offer a self-service motion where you have the freedom to independently purchase and ramp up on Fieldwire at your pace. If you need experts, we are available. You always can seek our support. But if you feel that you're someone who wants to experiment and go along on your own, that's also a possibility. So customer success managers support is actually not forced upon you, but we ask you whether you need support. Otherwise, we also let you have your own runway. We provide end-to-end deployment support for all of our customers if you need it. This ensures that rollout is very smooth. You see value on day one or week one, and we ensure that your objectives are met. And finally, this is something that we are going to work on increasingly next year, which is on ensuring that you also have some level of peer benchmarking of what the ROI that you're receiving from Fieldwire. Based on how similar customers and similar trades are using Fieldwire, we can actually tell you that, maybe here are the best practices that you can also consider. So there is a learning opportunity as well for our customers based on how others are using and deploying Fieldwire. Yeah. So to summarize, both on the product side and on the customer experience side, we want to ensure that we remain field first, which is true to our core, and we help you deploy in as smooth a manner as possible so that you are able to make your processes much better. Yeah. Cool. So that was the last slide I had, and we now throw it open for questions.
Thank you so much, Puneet, for talking about the Fieldwire's vision for 2026 and beyond. Before I open the stage for Q&A, I have a couple of more poll questions, but also feel free to add any questions that you may have on the Q&A panel on the right, and I will go into the Q&A session in a quick second here. So the next poll question we have is, what would make the biggest impact on your productivity in 2026? We spoke about a bunch of things, so we just wanted to understand what makes the biggest impact for your company. Awesome. I see a pretty equal split between integrations, AI, and we still have that changing. Let me give it another couple of seconds here. Thank you so much. The next question I have is, we're constantly looking for customers to do beta testing on these early upcoming features. So we would love to know if you would be interested in reaching out for becoming beta customers for us. And if you're interested, again, these are multiple selection questions. So if you're interested in becoming a beta customer for more than one kind of pathway, please feel free to select multiple answers there. Let me give it another few seconds here so that people have time to answer. Awesome. Thank you so much. And now let's go back into our Q&A session. So, Puneet, we have a few different questions. The first one here is, can we or are we looking forward to integrating with Matterport 3D into Fieldwire?
Yeah, great question. We have a roster of integrations that we wish to do, especially when it comes to anything on the BIM side. We believe that we should integrate with design clouds, so that any changes that happen on models, that seamlessly flows into Fieldwire. So that's something that we are very much looking to do next year. Matterport 3D is a very interesting company. It's something that we have taken a look at. It's there in our long list, and we just have to prioritize it based on customer requests. But it's there in a long list.
Awesome. Thank you so much. The next question we have for you here is, are there any plans to add bid management in the future?
Yeah. So not within the context of Fieldwire. Yeah. So Fieldwire, we want to make sure that it is very field focused. And when you talk about bid management, then the primary user persona is actually not our field user base or office user base, not somebody who manages job site work. But that's a very interesting opportunity for the overall Hilti construction software suite, but that's outside of the scope of Fieldwire. So the answer is not in Fieldwire. We want to keep ourselves very field focused.
Awesome. Thank you so much. The next question we have here is does Fieldwire have an open API that can integrate with their ERP softwares? But maybe can you generally speak about ERP integrations as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, we have an open API. Yeah, we also have integrations with several ERP softwares already. We have one with Viewpoint and Vista. We're actually building one with Sage. We are looking into CMIC. We are also looking into certain specific ERPs that you all might be using. So if you have an ERP that you wish Fieldwire to be integrated with, we should speak, and we should just find a way to put it on the roadmap. Also, if you want custom integrations with our Fieldwire, we also have certain third-party vendors whom we could actually work with to ensure that you are able to customize the workflow that you want to build an integration into Fieldwire with. So the best way is just get in touch with your account managers or your customer success managers, and let's speak.
Perfect. Thank you so much. The next question we have is, we are going away from cloning in 2026. People would like to know a little bit about cloning and templates and why we are going away from cloning in general.
Yeah. So that's a great question. It's also very specific to how a particular feature is deployed. We believe that with templates, we are actually able to do a much better job without creating a lot of confusion. And that's the reason why we have sunsetting and cloning, which was a very old functionality that we have built several years ago, and we are actually going more and more into the template space. We believe that most customers would benefit more with templates versus project cloning, because when you also clone, you kind of get all of the goodness, but also the quirks of a particular project into a new project, versus actually standardizing everything at a template level. It was actually templates was an ask from a vast majority of our customers. We do recognize that some of you love the cloning piece, but having both cloning and templates actually creates more confusion. And templates just gives an opportunity so that at a company level, you are able to standardize how a project is set up, and that then flows through, versus copy the quirks of how a particular project was set up, which is what will happen if you clone a project.
Awesome, thank you. And another question here is, how do you, when you're looking at the product roadmap, how do you differentiate, or how do you put time into improving a certain feature versus developing a new feature? Can you speak to that?
Yeah. So the way we think of it is 50% of our R&D capacity should be spent on listening to what our customers are telling us and improving what is already working. Making sure that the current user experience is great without unnecessarily disrupting anything is actually supremely important, because at the end of the day, even though you can always build very cool features and functionalities, it lives or dies on the field. Our field users, your field personas, have to be able to use whatever we develop in a super easy manner without necessarily the need for additional training. And that's essentially the entire speed to value piece that I talked about. So we believe that 50% should be spent on listening to our customers and making those incremental improvements. And we do take big bets. AI is, of course, a big bet, but we want to do it in a very field-first manner. That just when you introduce an AI feature, it shouldn't mean that you have to retrain several hundreds of your supervisors or foremen or construction field workers. So we still want to do it in a way that is consumable by our user base.
Awesome, thank you. Most construction SaaS solutions fail due to implementation challenges, not the technology itself. Beyond standard tutorials, do you offer dedicated customer success support to assist us with workflow configurations and training our engineers?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we actually have a huge team of construction success managers worldwide. The biggest chunk is actually in the US, where we have most of our customer base. And these are professionals who will work with you to understand your specific workflows, to help you understand how to build out those workflows within Fieldwire and ensure deployment and training. But also, there's someone who will come back to you every quarter to check in and see, hey, are you guys using it? Because the real value is also when you have somebody who comes and tells you, are you guys using it? And there's also the entire piece of peer benchmarking that we are actually going to work on next year, which is, to also give you a spirit of friendly competition, to tell you, customers similar to you, they're actually using it and are able to generate this kind of ROI. So why don't you give yourself a bit of a nudge and a bit of a competitive push to also use Fieldwire well and deploy your workflows well and deliver required outcomes. that's a piece that we are actually looking forward to deploying as we move into the next year.
Right. Thank you, Puneet. This is actually a perfect segue into our. Can you go to the next couple of slides? We have a resources slide at the end. At the resources slide, which is where you can see all the different resources Fieldwire offers you. Again, we have our knowledge base, we have webinars and YouTube tutorials. Apart from that, we have a support team that supports you 24/7. That's the email and phone number. And you can also give us any sort of feedback that you have, one for AI, one for our webinars and everything like that. We're at time. Thank you so much, Puneet, for taking some time and walking our participants through the vision of Fieldwire in 2026. Thanks, everyone, for joining. And as I mentioned before, if you can just spend a couple of minutes and give us some feedback on this webinar on our survey layout here, we would really help. That would really help us to uh, cater our webinars better to you guys next year.
Yeah, thanks a lot, everyone, and thanks, Pranati, for hosting and organizing this event. As always, it's a pleasure to have a webinar with our customers. Yeah,
Awesome.
thanks.
Have a good day, everyone. You can exit out.